back, everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. It's time for another weekly recap. We're on like episode 40 or 41 or I don't know what the fuck number we're on. I'm slow. So how is everybody doing? Welcome back to Orange Chat. I got my beautiful panel with me, Nerd with a Cigar and Ambassador. How y'all doing?
Hello, hello. Doing great.
I'm super. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. And we have in the chat Vanya, one of the loyals. Awesome man. Awesome man. Good to see you. I'm hoping you're having a good late evening because you're like 5 hours ahead of me over there. Get some sleep, man. We got 3 people watching on YouTube and 2 people watching on X. We got some stuff to discuss, folks. We got Agatha, that weird nude scene. Is it controversial or isn't it? We also have Disney in a spot of political hot water. And we are going to discuss Field of Dreams in memory of James Earl Jones.
Yes, we are.
Since we all hadn't seen it until
I had never seen it until the other day, and my mom's like, "You haven't seen Field of Dreams? What the fuck is wrong with you?" It's like, I haven't seen Field of Dreams.
That's what my friend told me too. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch Field of Dreams for the stream I'm on," and he was like, "Wait, what? The first time watching? What?" He's like, "Did you sleep for the '90s?" And I was like, "Sorry, I'm sorry. I don't know."
It's an '89 movie, actually, so it wasn't.
Oh,
90s.
Okay. Well, so I mean, Princess Bride came out in late '80s, and I saw that, so you know.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't see Princess Bride till like a few years ago, so.
Oh, okay. So it's all right. We'll throw shade on ourselves. Admonish.
Yeah. But anyway, before we get started, I do want to update some people on my channel. Tomorrow is Monday Night Rants, 9 o'clock. Tuesday is the final theme stream, Kong and Kaiju of Kong. We also are Wednesday is X2 discussion on Jade Shadow's channel, 8:30 p.m. Oh, Tuesday night is Barroom Podcast. Thursday, 8:30 p.m. on X exclusively on 218 or Orange Hat 2185. Is Logan. And Friday is Orange Hat Uncensored. Now, the second or the first full week of October, folks, October 6th through 9th, or October 6th through the 9th, I will not be doing any streams. I will be attending a family get-together for the half of the week, and I will be chatting with family I haven't seen in a while, so it's basically a get-together of family. So I will not be putting out content. Please do not unsub from my channel. I really do enjoy having subs to build my channel, to inform people and make people laugh. So just share my content out. Watch some of my latest videos. Watch some of my latest streams. I know or just go to my channel. You can access it all. I'm not making a dime on this, folks. I'm just trying to inform people. That's literally all I do for this. But also sub to Ambassador. He's got some cool shit that he's got going on. So with that being said, Ambassador, let everybody know what you're doing and where they can find you.
Well, channel's the Ambassador Wing, doing primarily movie reviews, covering movies from my childhood, from my adulthood, from my parents' adulthood and childhood, doing all the good stuff, the stuff that nobody else seemed to want to talk about. I'll be uploading the latest episode of the Tarantino podcast later this evening. Discussion was on Inglourious Bastards, a personal favorite of mine. I love that movie because what's better than Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt killing dirty, stinky Yahtzees.
Business is a booming.
Yes, it is. Yes, it was. So, and then next month I'll put a full update on my socials in regards to next month. But everybody knows I love Halloween. I love October. It's the start of the fall season. Although today technically is the start of fall. And yay, goodbye summer. We did not love you. You sucked. You were too damn hot.
It's better than what happened here. We had tornadoes. We had more tornadoes in New York than Tornado Alley had this year.
Jeez, my goodness. I'm not complaining like about the heat in Texas. Then I'll take a heat over tornadoes.
Well, we had them in New York State. We didn't have them in my area. Thank God. So.
But we're not here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about stupid shows that are stupid and movies that we love. So,
all right. So
get us back on track, Ambassador. Nice.
Agatha All Along goes nudity in front of kids. So there is this thing. I'm going to be sharing it. We're going to be discussing whether or not it's what it is or what's going on. Let's touch on this thing here, folks. I'm not going to share the I'm not going to share the audio because it's not the audio that really matters, because it's all she's saying is, "Oh, you're this," or PTA, huh? Oh, yeah. Cop, police chief or some shit. Like, yeah. So there's no need to share the audio of it, but this comes from Nerdrotic, and it's the scene, or it's this little clip. It's all 16 seconds here. So let's basically show you what it is. It's a kid checking out a naked lady. And the husband's like, copping a pill. And so she runs off, and it's blurred. Now, Ambassador, you said you saw this whole sequence?
I saw the entire episode, yes. And it was as dull and boring.
Please provide context. Please provide context for this.
Okay. Agatha has just figured out.
No, just confirm. Or right now, just confirm.
Okay.
Just right now, just confirm whether or not it was nude, or the nudity was blurred out.
Well, when you see her coming out of her door, she's completely out of focus. The only thing you can make out is actually the shape of her body and her hair outline. And the only thing you actually see in terms of any actual nudity is her ass. That's it. That's it.
And it's just the one time.
So it doesn't blur it out.
That's it. She comes into her house, she puts on a robe, and that's it.
Okay. Why the hell are people bothered? Well, I do have a problem with them showing, or folks, yes, kids are growing up. Kids get old enough to see some stupid shit. Kids get curious and whatnot. But does it have to be put in, or does it have to be shown at an adult essentially standing around naked in front of a child? Now, I'm not saying that she was naked in front of the kid in real life or during the filming. However, it is suggested that she is naked in front of the woman, or in front of the young girl, or the girl is like 13, 14 years old. Now, I'm glad that the mother had sense to cover the girl's eyes and whatnot, but did it even have to be done? Is the question of it. Now, Ambassador, what are your thoughts on the whole scene?
Well, here's the thing. She had just realized that she had been bamboozled by Wanda, that she'd been living in a fantasy world. She was stripping through all of her various fake identities, and eventually she gets down to, well, her birthday suit, essentially. She's shocked. She's frazzled. She's out of sorts. So in that particular context, if you remove the kid, it doesn't, in a manner of speaking, make sense. Now, is everybody uncomfortable that the fact that she's naked? Yeah. Her neighbor, the guy that she's talking to, he's trying to avert his eyes. He's like, he keeps trying to address it, but she keeps cutting him off. And he's like, she starts to walk away. He's like, can you please? Well, I'm paraphrasing, but he says, can you go put some clothes on? And then she walks in her house, closes the front door, and blows on a rope. Now, the one male neighbor, he does try to glance, but the wife's like, what the hell do you think you're doing? He's like, sorry. Yeah, I'm looking away now. And the mother, yeah, she sees Agatha, and within like 5 seconds, she's like, yeah, covers the girl's eyes. So in terms of the context of the scene, does it make sense? Is she out of sorts. Yeah, she's really out of sorts. If you found out you've been living 3 years in a fantasy world, you'd be kind of out of sorts too. Do I think this was by any means scandalous or Disney or Marvel trying to push something? No, I think it was in the context of the story. She had removed all of her previous personas and whatnot, and she was just down to her regular self. So I don't see the big brouhaha over this. To be honest with you, I think it's a lot of, well, it's basically a nothing burger. Now, as for the episode itself, I'll just say this briefly. The episode itself was boring. The first 20 minutes was a cheap knockoff of what they had done with WandaVision, which was actually really clever and well done. But this was like, okay, we know she's living in a fantasy. We know she's living in a fantasy. Can we get to the part where she finally wakes up and realizes she's no longer living in a fantasy? Because this is just boring. And the girl who played April Ludgate on Parks and Rec plays another character. I can't remember. Audrey Palaise or something. I can't remember. Plays another character. And yeah. And there's undertones that her character and Agatha's character were an item or some damn thing. But quite frankly, I didn't care. It was just boring. It was in your face. It was poorly crafted, and it reeked of laziness and boredom.
All right. So essentially, folks, it's being blown up out of proportion. However, I can see the is there a need for, to me, is there a need to have a scene where a girl is checking out a naked adult? I do not believe that shit needs to be put in Disney shit. Yeah. I just don't.
One thing.
However, I can understand how it could be taken out of context and also how it can be blown out of proportion. But to be honest,
well, yeah, but when you're given the professors that's like, this is the gayest show on Disney Plus. Isn't this the gayest thing we've put out? Oh, isn't this the gay? And all of the cast is like, yeah. And then the first clip that kind of goes viral is, the main character being nude in front of a teenager. Yeah, I can understand the knee-jerk reaction of like, oh boy, here we go again. And no, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, and it just adds to the pile of laundry list of abuses that Disney has shown on screen. Where you're just like, why did you put that there? What was the purpose of that other than to just shove something else down our throat? So I it might be a nothing burger. I'll give you that. I'll lend you that. I haven't seen the episode, so my opinion, take it with a grain of sand. But in context of everything that we've seen from the marketing for it, yeah, I can understand people having like a what the fuck kind of reaction for it. You know what I mean?
I can too, but but like I said, at the end of the day, it's a nothing burger. And here's the thing: the girl, the teenage girl that was in the scene, she wasn't even checking Agatha out. She was actually, you could see she was uncomfortable. She's like, "What the hell's going on?" Then her mother covers her eyes and gets her in the house. She doesn't even look back as she's
trying to remove her mother's hand. Then,
yeah, right.
She wasn't, as I recall.
Well, it just showed in that clip. She's trying to remove. She's like, "Oh my god!" She's smiling and shit in the scene. That's why I kind of felt it was unnecessary and shit. I mean, yes, it's basically how kids would mostly react, but still, I just feel like that sort of stuff doesn't need to be pushed.
Or it's the reaction a teenage boy would have, and yet they had a teenage girl on screen, and so it just made it more uncomfortable. For me.
Yeah. I mean, folks, yes, we understand there are LGBTQ people out there. We understand that there are young girls who like girls and whatnot. I'm not trying to take away from that. But the point is, a child looking at a naked adult woman is inappropriate.
Correct. It is.
That is my main issue and my main point that I am trying to make. Now, a lot of people... Now, I also, to give a final thought on Agatha All Along, I'm not going to watch shows, folks. I'm not going to provide any sort of analysis for it. I do not feel like abusing Kate or Ambassador. However, I will say that there is some reports out there. Oh, this show's not doing well, and there are people saying they haven't learned. Well, here's the thing. There are references that, oh, it's just as bad as The Acolyte. Disney didn't learn shit. And I'm thinking to myself, this show was being made over the last year or two. And The Acolyte wasn't being made during the airing time of The Acolyte. So this is basically one of those turds in the frickin' pipe that needs to get flushed out, as Kate actually so eloquently put it during before the stream. But essentially, yes, they got a lot of woke shit that needs to get out of the pipe before they can move on to the non-woke and clear their shit, and if that is indeed their intention. So, any other thoughts on this before we go to a different topic?
Not really. Don't watch the show.
Any final thoughts, Kate?
He's like, I saw a pilot. It's not worth watching. No, that's all I had.
All right.
Don't watch the show. It's boring.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the next one is a senator calls out Disney, wants them to submit all communications related to the rigged ABC presidential debate. Now, folks, for a lot of us who are political and whatnot during this climate, or unfortunately, entertainment has become political. That is an unfortunate reality.
Yeah.
And ABC hosted a presidential debate with Kamala Harris and President Trump, in which it was heavily rigged. These people were falsely fact-checking the president. Wouldn't even think about fact-checking the vice president.
Even though a quick Google search and Snopes would fact check her at several different points.
Well, it would also fact check ABC. You see, she pushed the Charlottesville hoax, where they were saying, or where they're saying that he was saying there was good people on both sides, and it's like, not what he said
right now.
Yeah, I mean, even Snopes, a left wing. Let me finish. A left wing fact checking site freaking published it. He did not say that. So when the left wing is actually or defending Trump in this case, maybe they should listen.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, folks. Trump or the debate, ABC, they're owned by Disney. And the female moderator, hey, right, Kitty. Good to see you.
Hey.
Now the female moderator, she is a sorority sister to Kamala Harris.
Nobody checked that.
is a friend of Kamala Harris. How was this a fair debate?
It wasn't.
Not to mention the owner of ABC, who runs ABC, and to Kamala Harris's husband.
There's a shock.
How was this fair? But we got this article from I think that Park Place. So Kate, you know the drill. If my audio starts going out, let me know, please.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, whistleblower fiasco. U.S. Senator demands Disney release all communications with Kamala Harris campaign. Now, this was from September 19th. It is now September 22nd. This is from WDW Pro at that Park Place. So, the Walt Disney Company is facing more significant challenges to its position of unbiased news reporting. ABC News. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. ABC News has been under significant pressure since it hosted a presidential debate earlier this month to reveal whether or not it facilitated an unfair advantage for one candidate over the other. Part of this scrutiny comes from the fact that Disney-owned network repeatedly interrupted or fact-checked one candidate more than a dozen times, while never doing so to the other. After an alleged whistleblower affidavit was teased online, Disney and its moderators of the debate began to corroborate many of the accusations. Stephen Battaglio at the Los Angeles Times reported Lindsay Davis wearing pink glasses while speaking to the Times over breakfast at the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia, said the decision to attempt to correct the candidates was in response to the June 27th debate between Trump and Biden, whose poor performance led to his exit from the race. It was more than just his poor performance, folks. The world saw that the man was not well. Once the whistleblower's affidavit landed, Disney has failed thus far to directly acknowledge and or refute the specific claims. So, yes, ABC News whistleblower swears under penalty of perjury that the Kamala Harris campaign dictated the terms of the questions during the debate. Furthermore, the Harris campaign insisted upon live fact-checking of Donald Trump during the debate. The way in which the whistleblower allegations have landed are certainly not traditional. Originally disseminated by a politically activist online called DocNet YouTube, or at DocNet YouTube, the claims go on to assert that there are secret audio recordings which will corroborate the affidavit in the near future. Allegedly, the affidavit has been sent unredacted to Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. When asked about the allegations, the head of Disney Television and Streaming, Dana Walden, a very close friend of Kamala Harris, introduced the vice president to her husband, waffled. Rather than outright deny them, she claimed the question was not dignifying of a response. She would then go on to give platitudes regarding ABC without directly answering the question. Later, Disney would provide an official response to the allegations. The company shared ABC News followed the debate that both campaigns agreed on, which clearly state no topics or questions will be shared in advance with campaigns or candidates. Okay, so that's topics or questions. So that means you can reword those questions so that they're not the exact same questions. And you can still provide them and you can still say, we didn't do it. That's cheating. So there are major problems with this statement. However, clearly the candidate who was interrupted and fact-checked more than a dozen times was unaware Disney would treat one candidate in a totally different manner than the other regarding moderator insertions. Had that been known, it likely would have canceled the debate. Furthermore, a prior CNN debate, which largely shared the same rules with the ABC debate, was well known for having been agreed to feature no fact-checking from moderators, or it's certain that a campaign would never agree to be the only side fact-checked by moderators. Additionally, the allegations in the affidavit are, among others, that Disney shared sample questions, as I was saying, changed the wording of the questions, with the Harris campaign that were tremendously similar to the real questions, providing a loophole, as well as the Harris campaign was assured they would not be fact-checked, only Trump. Neither of the chief allegations seem to be refuted by this Disney response. That makes it look to anyone who is closely followed that this could be a straw man retort. Disney might be better served if they can honestly deny the specific allegations. No, things are heating up. The UK Daily Mail is reporting that Congress has demanded that Disney turn over communications between itself and the Harris campaign. The outlet's Caitlin Corral reported Congress is demanding that ABC News and Vice President Kamala Harris hand over any communications with the network and campaign team related to the debate earlier this month. It comes after a sworn affidavit emerges from a whistleblower claiming to be a staffer with knowledge that ABC gave Harris an advantage in the debate with Donald Trump by providing her questions ahead of time. The Hill says the Senator Roger Marshall is requesting Disney provide those communications to his office. Marshall wrote in a letter to ABC President, I am not even going to try pronouncing that name, and Harris campaign manager Julie Chavez Rodriguez on debate night. It became abundantly clear that ABC News and its respective moderators had a biased agenda. The American people deserve transparency and accountability from the mainstream media and a full accounting of whether ABC News coordinated with the Harris campaign to skew the debate questions and fact-checking in favor of the vice president.
Good.
That's Senator
I'm
Marshall
glad
for
that
you.
they called out. Good.
J.D. Vance, running
like
mate. Yep. Link the article. Yeah.
I said I like this article, but yes, if you could link it either privately, I'd like to follow up later.
I'll put it in the chat and in the private chat after I'm done reading. J.D. Vance, VP running mate to Donald Trump, declared that this will be a national scandal if it turns out to be true. All of that makes for more pressure than Disney was likely expecting in the aftermath of the debate. Vance said that while in Michigan, if it happened, it's disgraceful. It should be a national scandal. Not only should it be a national scandal, folks, but it should tell you right now that if it is true, Disney should have all of its debt foreclosed, called in. All the banks should fucking shutter Disney. Because it's like, you just interfered in a presidential election process. You're done. We're calling in your debts. You either pay up your shit in the next 90 days or we foreclose on all of it. That is what I would do if I was a fucking banks. But the banks are unfortunately not morally on top, you know? Right. Jesus Christ, how much more of this do we got to go?
I'd say we got the gist.
Yeah, we basically got the gist, folks.
So Disney's being called out, and they have to basically tell everybody, hey, here was our correspondence with Kamala Harris campaign. Good.
Yep.
Get called out. It's weird that CNN had a less biased debate than ABC.
Well,
like that,
CNN.
One second. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
But all right, go ahead. Go ahead, Ambassador. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. CNN has been under a lot more scrutiny, not to mention they've got a new boss in charge, and he's a lot more centrist in his viewings politically. So he's probably putting a lot of pressure on them. That's why you've seen the exiting of so many of the more prominent left-wing, more leftist.
The DEI people.
Well, right. That too, but also a lot more the exit of like Don Lemon and Brian Seltzer and all that, and that whole flock of crap heads essentially.
Oh, Brian is back, I heard.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, Mr. Potato Head is back with CNN as their chief media analyst.
What?
Yeah, he failed upwards. He failed upwards. The guy who literally would sit in his tighty-whities while at home reporting the news.
Oh, for Pete's sakes.
Yeah.
Okay,
yep.
Well.
So.
But yeah, you're right, Ambassador, that you did bring up a good point, and I did forget that CNN has just recently, they're like, oh, we got to calm down a little bit. It's MSNBC, that's just the new CNN. Like, they got Rachel Maddow and all those weirdos.
Yeah.
MSNBC is one of the most, and I'm not saying this because everybody else is saying it, folks. I'm saying it because it's actually fucking true. MSNBC is one of the most racist news networks out there.
For sure.
When you have a full-blown anti-white racist like Joy Reid, and they also fired another one of their anti-white racists like last year or the year prior due to her racial rhetoric. but yet Joy Reid does it a lot more often and is still allowed to keep her job. Yeah. So, just goes to show you how fucked up they really are. But moving on to the main, or our closer as well, it's going to be a longer discussion, folks. Field of Dreams discussion. Folks, I watched this movie, and, I was always aware of the way that it was marketed, where he should build a field. And,
build the team will come.
Yeah. And so then I start watching the movie, and in 15 minutes in the movie, he's got the field done. And I'm like, well, this is going to be a short fucking movie. But then
I was also surprised with the pacing. I was like, where's this going?
Yeah, the pacing is like insane.
Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way.
Yeah, it's like really quick, but then it slows down a bit more. And I'm thinking to myself, okay. So then we noticed, or what the marketing didn't show you, is that there was a lot more to this story.
Yeah.
I went in thinking it was going to be like Angels in the Outfield baseball movie, and it was not that, but I wasn't disappointed. And then, well, we'll get into it, but there's a point like maybe halfway through the film where I'm like, oh, this is going to lead to this, and I was really glad that it did at the end.
Yeah. Now, so basically in this movie, he builds the field, and dead players from the past who were essentially wronged because some of them took the money from throwing the game. However, some of them didn't throw the game on purpose. Shoeless Joe Robinson, played by Ray Liotta.
Shoeless Joe, excuse me.
Shoeless Joe Jackson. Sorry. He comes to the field and he's like, a few others would like to play. Is that all right? Yeah, absolutely. We made this for you. Now, folks, this guy killed an entire crop of corn.
Not entire crop, this part.
A huge number of the crop, a large portion of the crop.
Yeah, but
to the point where he was in debt.
Yeah.
Had a mortgage put on. His brother-in-law is trying to get him to sell the land due to the fact that the field essentially put the value of the land in the shit or in the gutter. And yet he goes out with his daughter and his wife. Kevin Costner and his wife were hippies, essentially. They were hippies in the 60s.
Yeah. But they were nice hippies.
The daughter, yes, they were. The daughter, they managed to, they could see all the ghosts. Nobody else could see the ghosts. So it's like, how do we do that? So, yeah. I like
there's like a wrench thrown in the plan because he's like, oh, build it and he will come. And so he builds it and then they come and then they're like, okay, cool. And I'm thinking, and this happens later on in the film where they're like, oh, we'll sell tickets for people to come and like see old favorites play. And I thought that was like 20 minutes into the film. I'm like, oh, sweet. He can like pay off by selling tickets. And then the brother-in-law shows up and he's like, you guys are like, you're seeing things. Yeah. And so that entire subplot was actually really good because a lot of times, maybe not a lot of times, but sometimes in older films, the subplot, you're like, oh, this is kind of boring. Just get back to the main thing. I found the subplot to be very, it was very good and it was weaved well into the main story. And even the subplot where they go to the school and she's like yelling at that lady. I love that.
Oh my god.
Oh, I love that.
That was the most patriotic thing ever.
I was like, yes, lady. And she's like, you want to take it outside? I was like, yes, let's go. I was like, oh my god.
I love what she called her. You want to take it outside, you Yahtzee cow?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, folks.
I love that.
Here's the thing. If you look at entertainment over the last 20, 30 years, it's more left-leaning skewed, subtlety. Some of it subtle, but as of the last 10 to 20 years, it became more apparent, where it was very much left-wing rhetoric and stuff that they put in. That girl, that woman, his wife, went full conservative values.
Yeah, and she's a
people.
hippie.
It's like, you guys are going to be burning books. How very Hitlerian of you. And whatnot. She's using, she's like, how very Stalin of you. I mean, she gets all of them. She gets all of them to freaking raise. It's like, so are you going to stand for the Constitution? Raise your hand. Few people raise their hand. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then she's like, oh, all right. So are you guys going to stand for burning books like what's his name did in the 40s? Raise your hand. So they start raising their hand. She gets everybody in the freaking place to raise their hand and then freaking clap their way out.
She just walks out. Yeah, she just walks out. I love that. I just want to say, like, not just this scene, but like in general, the wife did a real, like, nowadays you don't see good, strong families in movies or supportive husbands and supportive wives. In this movie, we had a really supportive wife. You know, this guy has a crazy idea. I'm going to pull up my crop and build a freaking baseball field. I don't even have a team. And the wife's like, if you feel that you need to do it, you need to do it. Do I think you're crazy? Yeah, but you got to do it. And she was supportive the whole way. Yeah. Did they had to sit down and have real conversations of, okay, look, I let you build the field, but we can't keep it forever because of money, or like, you know, there were real conversations. But I loved the family dynamic in this movie.
Oh, I did.
And the healing process of like him being okay with like his dad issues and his issues with his father, and it was just a really good. It wasn't like a coming of age story, but it was like the adult version of a coming of age story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
now,
if
go ahead. No. You go ahead.
I, until yesterday, had never seen this movie. Now, Ma'am Ambassador, my wife, had seen this movie. She loved this movie. She had a huge crush on Kevin Costner back in the day. She had told me about the 40th anniversary of Field of Dreams, where the field still exists. The field is still there. The field is still there, and they still have baseball games. And they had an anniversary baseball game, and Costner threw out the first pitch.
That's awesome. I love that.
We are talking about Field of Dreams, Riot. Field of Dreams.
Yeah, in honor of James Earl Jones, because this is one of his. This is
best
one of the
movies.
movies he played a. I don't know. I meant to look this up, but I never got a chance to. He played an author by the name of Terrence Mann. I don't know if this is a real life author or not, if it was just a fictitious one. But okay, fictional. Okay, fair enough. But James Earl Jones in this movie, he was a hippie, but he kind of got beaten down by all the passage of years and everything going screwy, and he was checked out. He didn't care anymore. And Ray Kinsella, Kevin Costner's Kinsella, his character shows up at Mann's apartment in Boston.
Great scene.
I love this scene.
And he's like, "You're going to come with me to a baseball game. Are you trying to kidnap me?"
Yes.
But
I love that.
As a gun. Like, I just love that he like slams the door in his face, and
piss off.
James Earl Jones does a really good job too of like, I didn't hear Mufasa or Darth Vader when I see him on
James Earl Jones.
You know what I mean? He does a good job of being in character, where you can just enjoy his character.
Totally.
But like some actors, you see them and you're like, oh, that's, and then you have the typecast in your brain. James Earl Jones is not that. I didn't have any problem with that in this movie whatsoever. And I absolutely loved his character.
Two of the best lines in that scene alone. He's like, "Oh my God, you're from the '60s." And then
he gets out the bug sprayer.
Yeah, he gets a bug sprayer out. He starts spraying them, and then he's
like, "Go back to the '60s."
Peace. Yeah, peace, love, dope. And he slams the door.
What I like too is there was like throughout the film there was this like, did they time travel? Because they run into this older ghost, but then they run into him as a young man.
Yeah.
And so when he says like, "Are you from the 60s?" I was like, "Oh, are we doing like time travel-y thing?" But I kind of like that they didn't explain the magic of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they did.
Like the
that's
brother,
the one thing I liked too.
I really liked that they didn't spend too much time explaining why the brother-in-law couldn't see it, and then all of a sudden at the end could, you know, after the
well, here's the thing. They
they
don't have to explain it because it's pretty well self-explained. And can I just say, I had not seen Burt Lancaster in anything in such a long time, and him as Doc Graham.
Doc
Graham.
Moonlight
he
Graham.
was so darn good in this. I
Yes,
remember,
he was.
as a kid, I loved Burt Lancaster as an actor. I mean, Gunfight at the OK Corral, him as I think it was Wyatt Earp. I love Burt Lancaster as an actor. He was just he was
he's a legend.
Right?
He also had one of the more emotional scenes of the film. So like I don't know if you're ready, Orange, but sorry, like toward the end of the film, everybody's back at the farm and there's a whole
brother
team
loses
set up.
his temper,
Yeah, the brother-in-law loses his temper because he's like, not only is my sister, but my niece is gonna lose. Like, y'all are gonna be homeless. You're gonna lose your livelihood. Like, I'm trying to help you. And there's a scuffle, and the daughter Karen falls off the bleacher. And for a moment, I was like, oh my god, is this movie a tragedy? But Moonlight, the doc, comes off the field, and you see him transform from a young man back to his older form, and he's like, no, she's just choking on, you know, a hot dog. And and then she was fine, but Kevin Costner, when he's talking to him and he's like, hey, you can't go back. And it reminded me earlier in the film where he had a line where it was like, can one inning of baseball change anything? And the kid got to play an inning of baseball, walked off the field, became an old man, saved a little girl's life. And so one inning of baseball can change things. So it was just this beautiful, really well-rounded story arc for this character. And I love that, you know, he didn't miss out by not playing baseball, because Kevin Costner's whole character, he's like, my father didn't do any of his dreams. He didn't do any of these things. And he missed out on the movie's called Field of Dreams. Like, they missed out on these things that he should have done.
Yep.
And so, you meet Moonlight thinking, oh, he missed out on this career, but no, in actuality, all of the lives that he changed and touched as a doctor and all the people that he helped, it was way better that he left baseball when he did. So it was just, I don't know, like all of the little small stories, those story arcs were just really
the one thing I like about that particular sequence is Shoeless Joe Jackson played, honestly, great by Ray Liotta, another great one that we lost a few years ago. He's so good in this. I think it was like one of his first roles. I think this was before he did Goodfellas or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, way before. Not way.
And he was so good as Shoeless Joe Jackson. He really, really was. And the thing I like is all the other old school baseball players, as Doc Graham is walking off the field, and they're like, "Hey, kid, you played good. You did a good job." They showed that, and here's the other thing I liked. These were players from rival teams, but there was no animosity among them. They were all they understood they understood the gist of it.
The love of the game.
Yeah, they were literally doing this because they loved to play. And
I even like the scene where they're like joking around, and he's like, "Hey, dumbass," and then they look over, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, kid." And Karen's like, "Oh, I don't mind," and they're like, "Yeah, kid, yeah."
Yeah, they give Karen the freaking applause. And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I was like, "Yeah."
No,
and
that's one baseball. If you've ever been to a baseball game, that's it. That's the love of the game, the love of the sport. You can sit next to somebody who's the rival team fan and still have a great time. So, it was a good job.
Now, Ambassador, you wanted to say something?
Well, the thing I found interesting, I didn't realize this until the credits, and I recognized her at first, but I wasn't quite sure. the girl, the young actress who played the daughter, Gabby Hoffman, that's the same actress who played the daughter in Hook.
Oh,
son of a bitch!
Oh my gosh!
Same actress who played the daughter in Hook.
Okay.
Oh my god! Yeah, you are right. Holy crap!
I didn't even notice that. She looked familiar, but I didn't even catch it.
Well, and here's the crazy thing.
She looked very town and country, where in Hook she looked very. That's night and day.
Yeah. The other thing is, I actually did. This was never fully corroborated, but Amy Madigan, who played the wife, Annie, was actually at the time, I'm not sure if she still is, was married to Ed Harris. And the rumor goes that Ed Harris did the voice.
Yeah. All right, look
because they never credit who did the voice. They just said the voice
as himself. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But yeah. Go ahead, Orange. Go ahead, bud.
But yeah, and yeah, I actually looked at it to like, who's the voice? And they actually did confirm it was Ed Harris. But one of the best lines that I really liked, because you don't see this in sports anymore, folks. I stopped watching sports a while ago because I realized they're not in it for the sport anymore. They're in it for the check, the paycheck. And Ray Liotta had one of the most poignant lines in the entire movie. I'd have played for food money. I'd have played for nothing. I just loved the game. And that was what all of those players did. That was what all those players said and essentially felt. And when you have the argument where the final or that real moment of temptation between Ray and the contract and his brother-in-law, you get that great line. I'm going to read you the whole fucking speech, man, because that speech from James Earl Jones, if that didn't get him an award, damn, it should have. And I posted it on X, folks, because, you know, I love shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your drive, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it, for it is money that they have and peace they lack. And they'll walk out onto the bleachers, sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines, where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game, and it'll be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces. They will come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like armies of steamrollers. It has been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. Now, there is also a moment in which Terrence Mann, James Earl Jones' character, is invited to join the other players. Now, I was expecting a moment or a scene after he was accepted, and well, Kevin Costner kind of made an ass of himself of being like, what's in it for me? And it's like, is that really why you did it? Think about that, man. Don't falter. He's basically telling them, don't falter right now. So when he walks off into the corn and disappears, James Earl Jones' character, I'm expecting them to look back for a moment and see James Earl Jones dead on the bleachers, like he passed away.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
Right.
And it's like, so what the fuck happened to him? Did he become one with the Force? Of course, he probably did. You know.
No, because here's the thing. Here's the thing.
All right,
real quick, okay. Just real quick.
You're good. Go ahead.
He was invited to go with them so that he could come back and tell, because he's like, I'm gonna come back and write another book. He's like, and Ray's like, I want a detailed description. He's like, you will get it. So no, I don't think his character died. He got an invitation to go beyond
and come back. Yeah,
and come back. We just don't see that part, which is okay. So anyway, go ahead, Kate.
I took it that he he had finished everything he needed to finish and he was passing on, which made me question, because like earlier he was like, hey, you're a missing person, and he's like, oh, I gotta call my son, like, or and then he like disappears off to Iowa, right? Because at that particular moment they were in Michigan, right? Or
Minnesota.
Minnesota. That's right.
No, Minnesota.
They were they were in Minnesota, calls his son, lets him know, hey, I'm not in Boston, I'm in Minnesota. Then goes to Iowa. We get zero indication that he let anybody know that he was going to Iowa, right? Because he's like, I'm going when Ray's on the phone with his wife, he's like, oh, I got to drop him off in Boston and then I'll be back home. And James Earl Jones's character's like, oh, Terrence is like, no, I'm coming with you. Because he wants people to see it. So maybe it's better that it's left for interpretation, so that people can like Ambassador and I got something totally different out of it, because I was like, oh my god, this dude just died. Because you see him like waving his hand in the field, and his hand's like disappearing, and every time you see them walk into the field, they disappear as if they're like going off into paradise or whatever, Well, actually, that's open to interpretation too, because a couple of the players ask, is this heaven? And he's like, no, this is Iowa.
Yep.
Well, Shoeless Joe asks it, and then Ray's father asks it. Because
hold on before you get to that bit.
Sorry.
The ending, folks, is basically, or we realize that he goes on all these journeys thinking that he has to find these players specifically and help them with their problems. While he does that, the voice from the field is telling him these things. Yes, he's misinterpreted all of them. He's misinterpreted them, but however, he also did interpret them in a way that was also poignant to the players that were there or that he brought to the field. Yes, ease his pain. James Earl Jones' character didn't want to write anymore because people got lazy. He wanted them to think for themselves. He felt that society had decayed and nobody was free thinking anymore. But yet that kind of pain was eased. And also he got to go through invite to the other side to see what it was. And then go the distance. He went the distance, found Doc, and I love that scene where they actually pick him up. It's like, so what's your name, kid? Oh, Archibald Graham.
Archie, yeah.
And I just love how they're like, and they look at each other and smile in the van before carrying on. But after,
I love that. And then he gets to wink at the picture too. That was great.
Yep. And the picture took it completely the wrong way.
Yeah, he really did.
But then after all the players have went off, you see one last ghost there. And it's like, if you build it, he will come. Meaning, or it had always meant this whole time, it wasn't just Shoeless Joe Jackson. It meant his father. His father. And I'm like, they better end this with him playing catch with his father.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad they did. Because
me too. When I was, go ahead. Sorry. I'll let you finish.
But then they pulled up with the camera and it just showed a line of fucking cars. And I'm like, damn, that was fast. But
because they all heard the voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
something.
It was just so great. That whole speech.
It was wrapped up really nicely. Yeah.
It really was. And
because
my God, man, I nearly cried when I saw when he gave that whole speech. I nearly cried. It's like, damn, that's not going to be seen, or that's not going to be that quality isn't coming back.
No, and it's
go ahead.
No, it's good because you don't get movies like this anymore. But yeah, when like halfway through the film, like well, through the opening sequence when he's like narrating about his dad and stuff, I was like, "Oh, okay, here's the setup." And then like after he goes to meet um Terrence Mann, I was like, "Oh, this should end with him resolving his issues with his father." If that's how it opened and um, the only reason why he likes Shoeless Joe Jackson is because it's his father's hero. This whole thing is leading to his dad. I was like, come on, like end the movie well, and I'm really glad that they did. I'm really glad that he got that catharsis at the end. You know, because yeah, he had that moment of what's in it for me because emotionally speaking, yeah, this dude's hit the end of his rope. You know, he had what could be considered a midlife crisis. Tears up his field, puts a freaking baseball diamond in there, makes no sense, and then, almost loses his daughter or a dramatic moment where you think his daughter might die. So it makes sense for him to have that, like, I've done all of this and I haven't asked for anything this entire time. And even though, it's a selfish thing and he needs to be corrected, it's not outside of his character, and it made sense, And then we get a resolution to that. What's in it for him? Quality time with his dad, and a chance to be with his father, and to let go of that bitterness and that regret that he's been holding on to. Like every single character in that movie got a chance to kind of tie up all of those loose ends in a really poignant, beautiful family kind of way. It was just a good movie,
Yeah, and it's, like I said, this was a movie my wife had recommended to me, and I was hesitant, but when we decided to do this review and everything, I had almost honestly forgotten about it because we had kind of a rough weekend. I'll talk about it off air. When you posted in our group chat, I was like, "Oh crap, I gotta watch this." So pulled it up because we don't have a physical copy, but we do have Netflix right now, and thankfully it's on there. Yeah, and that's how I watched it. And I was like, the missus was like, "Well, what'd you think?" I was like, "I love this movie. This is like top 3, top 4 favorite sports movies of all time, and that includes Hoosiers, Miracle, and Remember the Titans."
Yeah.
So I love this movie. It was so
it's
good.
Good. It's a good choice for us to do it this week. So I'm glad that we did it because I really enjoyed it.
We did. This is what you would call a feel-good movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you feel good inside.
Yeah, but it's not like empty. It has. No. Yeah, it's just all around.
It has a message.
It's funny though. It does have a message. I will say there was a couple moments in the movie where I was laughing because I was like, "This is PG."
Yeah,
that's before the rating system really took off.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is 80s PGs, but
89 PG because remember, this is the same year that Batman came out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, true. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. This was the 1989, same year that Batman came out, and everybody was.
But like going back to the
Mom.
The scene. Well, like the scene at the school council where she's like, "This is a bunch of shit," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, they spelled it out, so that's how you get around it.
Yeah, right. That's how you get away with it.
And the woman has. She was just being a complete and total speech Yahtzee. Like, this is smut. This is horrid. This is just the worst thing ever. And everybody's like,
"Yeah, girl, wait 30 years until they actually put corn in schools." So just wait.
Yeah.
The school board was actually pushing back on her, saying, "Lady, this is regarded as one of the best books in history. The writer is a Pulitzer Prize winner." And then she's like, "Well, the reason he probably stopped writing is because he masturbates." I'm like, "Really?
Oh my,
really?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Come on." come on, Miss Kinsella, give this 114. And then of course she did. I sat there laughing my ass off, and when she called her a Yahtzee cow, you want to step outside. I'm like, oh hell yes.
I was like, yeah, I had the biggest. I was like, oh, she's gonna smack her or something. I was like, let's go. She verbally smacked her. She verbally smacked her when she got everybody to raise their hand. Oh, you want to stand for the Bill of Rights? Raise your hand. And the whole room, and then she just walks out. Great scene. But
she's just ecstatic. I would even say the wife.
I just thought the rating scene was the rating of the movie was just kind of funny. I was like, is this PG? But yeah, it is 89, so makes sense.
So you could get away with a little bit more back then.
A little bit, yeah, right.
So,
but yeah, so how would we all rate this on first objective level without bias? How would we rate this?
Objective. 8. 7.5, 8. No, man, I'm being critical. I would say an 8, just a solid 8. Objective.
All right, Ambassador.
10.
Without bias, objectively looking at the film.
It's a 10.
You're saying it's a perfect film?
I would say so, yes. One of the few times I will say that it is a perfect film. It is a 10.
All right. Me, personally, objectively, I would say it is around an 8.5. The pacing was kind of unsteady at the beginning because he gets this freaking thing built in like 15 minutes of the film. And it's like, well, shit, plot's done. Okay, good. And I'm like, okay, now more to it. And so the story, however, does more than make up for it, as well as the acting. I mean, 8.5 is very good, folks. That is like an A-.
Fair enough.
Now, subjectively, with bias, this movie's 10 out of 10 for me. What do you guys think?
Oh, subjectively, yeah, 9.5. Yeah, almost a 10. I would say it's almost a perfect movie. I wouldn't say it's a perfect movie subjectively for me because there are other movies I would rather put on that I would say are directed better but as far as this is definitely going to be watching again, if not added to my favorites list. So it's not to say that I'm dogging on if I give it a 9.5, but let's say The Godfather is a 10 out of 10 perfect film. No unnecessary scenes, cut perfectly, edited perfectly, sound is perfect. If that's, the highest echelon, I would say, there's a couple things you could tweak about the pacing and stuff, but subjectively,
all right. But yes, this movie is also a feel-good movie. So without breaking it down, moviegoer, I also put it at a 10 because it's like, I'm not checking my watch on this one. That's actually very good. That keeps me intrigued in the movie. And so it's like, yeah, I think that this movie is actually well worth watching again.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not immediately. Like for me, I literally, folks, when I got Top Gun Maverick, I was watching that movie every fucking day when I got it.
Oh, that's a great film. Oh,
that's how rewatchable that movie is. This movie is a feel-good movie. It's not meant to be rewatchable every day. Rewatchable. However, once 6 months or a year, definitely rewatchable that way.
Or if you're having a really crappy day and you need a good movie
like
that'll make you feel better, this is the movie.
Year, something like that. Yeah. Right.
If you're having a
yeah, exactly. Like it's a little rainy, a little down. Yeah.
So now that this was actually quite an interesting experience of how we describe or discuss this movie. Should we make part of the weekly recap a movie discussion?
I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind either. Yeah, if you want to pick an actor or something, throw in a movie.
I mean,
I certainly wouldn't.
Either a movie or a TV show review or something. Either one. I don't care. Yeah.
No, TV shows are a bit harder.
Yeah, TV shows are harder.
That's true. Yeah, it's just one episode. Yeah.
Although I did recently rewatch the first season of The Flash and the CW one. Now, as much as I'm not a fan of the later seasons and didn't even bother watching all of them, first 3 seasons were great. The first season, however, was top form. I'm on the second season now, but yes, there are gender flips. Or not gender flips, but race swaps and whatnot. However, they didn't really make it woke. And also there's a gay cop captain, which is they really didn't shove it in your face. They showed it, yes, a little bit here and there, sure. But that wasn't woke. When they started getting to 4th season and beyond, that's when the show started to tank. With the identity politics, #feminism and all that shit. And it's like, okay, this show is called The Flash, right?
Yeah, why is the whole episode about Iris? Yeah, right.
Why is Iris suddenly becoming the Flash? What the fuck is do fucking Kid Flash and other shit in a fucking spinoff or some shit. Make the fucking show about the Flash, you know?
Yeah.
Just a thought. But yeah, I am going to be taking a look at the later or at the later seasons, the ones that I didn't catch up on, the Godspeed seasons and such, because I think it's like 7, 8, and 9 that I haven't seen. And
and toward the later seasons too, they have the crossover events.
Yeah,
so
the Crisis of Infinite Earths. I've already seen that.
Yeah.
That was where I stopped watching it. Was basically after the merging and whatnot, but I finished out the episodes. Specifically where Nora Allen, the daughter Nora, I believe her name was, where she disappeared because the timeline was changed, and the only way to keep her, or the only way for her to keep or to be kept, was through the negative Speed Force, which she didn't want to do. So that's. Let's see here. What movie should we watch? It's going to be
Well, we can discuss offline too.
Yeah, we'll discuss that offline.
Or what we can do, or what you can do, is put up a poll on your X account.
I will indeed put up a poll, and I'll tag you guys to it, and also see what kind of vote we get.
Yeah,
but
I like that.
We will also discuss it in the back or in the backstage. But anyway, folks, that is going to be the stream. Thank you all so much for watching. We had a great discussion about Field of Dreams. just don't cross the streams. And whatever you do not call the Ghostbusters to go to Iowa.
No, because we like these ghosts.
These are chill ghosts.
The third one?
There's probably like
Iowa in the third one?
Somewhere. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I watched Afterlife. I'd have to check.
Yeah, I know, right? But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in. Sub to Ambassador. Follow her, Kate, Nerd with a Cigar. Follow me. Share my stuff.
Don't watch the new Agatha, but do watch Field of Dreams.
Yes. Watch Field of Dreams. Don't watch Agatha.
Yes.
Thank you, Riot Kitty.
Anything. Go ahead.
Yep. Thank you, Riot Kitty and Vanya, for sticking around. And to all those on X and YouTube, to those on YouTube that commented, thank you so much. For those of you, hey, fucking Norris, good to see you. Thank you for coming in on the last minute.
Hola.
Hey, folk.
Yep. So thank you for coming in. You're on the ass end of it, so sorry. But yes, sub to my stuff. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subs. I'll be happy if I make 1,750 by the end of the year, but 2,025 subs is what the goal is in order to have a special treat for the subs, or for the subs. I might do a movie poster giveaway. But that's only if I get to 2025 before 2025.
So tell your friends, guys. Share. Gosh.
Yeah. Share my stream, share my content, share my channel. If you know somebody who might like this sort of content, somebody who gives it to you straight, somebody who discusses stuff with you, doesn't tiptoe around feelings.
And has a channel with different opinions. You know, we get a few different opinions.
Yeah. Believe me, the only reason why I didn't discuss Janet Jackson tonight was because it really came in late. The information came in late, and there's no time to prepare for it. So that might actually happen tomorrow for the rants, folks. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a rant for Janet Jackson bending the knee.
For Pete's sakes.
Bend the knee.
Yeah. But other than that, yes. Share my stuff out. Let people know where they can find me. I'm on Twitter, OrangeHat2185 and Orange Hat Revived. There's no A in that orange because of a letter limitation. But that is my original one. A lot of my stuff isn't seen over there because I got the blue check on OrangeHat2185. And you can also find me on Instagram where I do funny little reel remixes, which are great, and also reel edits and stuff. I enjoy doing that. I enjoy getting laughs, making laughs and whatnot. Sometimes they're political, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're culture relevant, sometimes they're not. But yeah. Also, due to the fact that we are having October coming up, and a certain mask has been calling out to me. So I might be coming back with those shorts. So definitely
I'm afraid.
Definitely stay tuned, folks. And I'm definitely going to be doing a drive-through video or drive-through short with that one.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try doing a drive-through short with that one.
Oh,
hopefully it works because it's like I want to make this work, dude. I really want to make it work,
dude. Oh man, that's gonna be hysterical. People are gonna be screaming, and I'm gonna love it.
Yeah, to see if they actually do it. But then again, it's gonna be like, all right, well, anyway, I don't want to give any of that away. So, yeah, definitely take it easy, folks. Y'all have a wonderful night, and always remember to stay humble, shall we say. And also, don't give up on your dreams.
Yeah.